Hello, everyone. Welcome to our discussion today. And we have a special guest today, Batul Nawab, with us. Welcome, Batul.
Hi.
So the reason we have Batul with us today is she's associated with us since quite some time. And I've always seen her uh, use our hardware in her projects in such a creative way, creating spaces and an innovative approach in all her sites. So I want to discuss today with her how she manages to, keep re-innovating and being creative with unique designs in each of her projects. That's what we are going to discuss today. And just to introduce Batul, she's an interior designer, a full-time interior designer and a part-time serial watcher, which many of us do now, especially after the lockdown. And after completing her bachelor's in interior design from Rachana Sansad, that's one of the most reputed interior designing institutes in Mumbai. She completed that in 2015 and spent the initial years after graduation with working with some incredible designers, reputed names in the industry, Tejal Mathur and Spyro Spero. And since the last 3 years, she has been flying solo and started her own studio, B Nawab Designs, where she undertakes residential and commercial projects. Her love for design is accompanied by her passion for outdoor adventures. We share common interests, Batul, and food. She tries to bring this into her design process every day. So I think that's one of the inspirations where you keep your creative aspect in line with the projects that you do.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
she believes in functional aesthetic designs that focus on well-being of its occupants, catered to their brief. Wonderful, Batul. Glad to have you here and hope you can give your inputs, the topic that we are going to discuss today.
Definitely, surely.
So tell me, Batul, going back, was interior designing, did it come naturally to you? Did you always want to become an interior designer, or did it just happen by chance?
So I think there was a little bit of conditioning involved in that. Like ever since I was a child, my mom always said that, interior design was something she wanted to pursue, but she didn't have the opportunity to. And even my dad, like he was very encouraging of my, curious side. So that's what piqued my interest in interior design. And when I started design school, like within the first week, I was surrounded by so many like-minded creatives and all, and that's when I like really knew that yeah, this is the right decision for me. So that's when I was sure to say so. But like as it goes, everyone's always exploring. Till you don't start something, you don't really know. But yeah, that's how I got into design.
Okay, so it was a little bit of not a parent push or something, but because your parents belonged to a similar taste and a similar thought process, I think that encouraged you to pursue this. And luckily, you uh, found it to be a passion, which is sometimes not the case. Sometimes you do something and think, "Oh, why did I do this?"
Yeah,
Luckily
that
for you,
happened.
it was the same thing you wanted to pursue, and congratulations for that.
Thanks.
Okay, so Batul, coming to our topic, when we speak of creativity, I'm sure you give 100% for all your clients. I mean, you try to think how you can create maximum space, and depending on how they want their space to be worked on, use the best products, and the design aspect as well. So when you work with different clients, I mean, you finish one project, or sometimes it happens that you're working on multiple projects at the same time. So how do you shift your gears from one project to other? Once you complete one project, for the other project, you want to do something differently, something more creative, or on a different, theme. So how do you manage to do that? Can you tell us?
So for me, the way I approach projects and my design process as such is very much related to who I'm working with. So I try creativity can be found anywhere in any way. So when I approach a project, it really the space that I'm designing should reflect the personalities of the people that are going to inhabit the space or use the space. And as we know, no two people are alike. So it becomes easy when when I start conversations with my clients or when they share with me their interests. then I find ways to kind of bring their liking into their space. Like, just for an example, if I have to say, like, today when we scroll on Instagram, if you take your friend's phone and you scroll on their feed, you're not going to enjoy it as much as you would enjoy your own feed, because it's curated to what you like. So that's what I kind of believe. That's what I mean when I say it's personalized or it's a curated space, because it has to reflect the person's personality. So I don't find that very challenging, honestly, like in the sense that I'm a people person. So I like to get to know people, and then I use that to kind of help them discover how their space should look. So that's how I approach design. And then there are, as you know, you are in the industry, there are multiple ways of achieving designs or doing different things with the same products or however. And that comes at a later stage. But the initial idea is to understand what exactly the client wants, and even what they don't know they want. Like, from experience you can tell when to push a client, when not to, and kind of just work on what they need for their space. So
Great. Thanks
that's
for inputs, Batul. So it is mainly, I mean, your creative side is linked to the requirements from the client, which is very important. How they initiate their thought process, how they explain their ideas to you, and then going forward from there, you put your creativity into, to sync with their thought process. Very important, because sometimes we see that uh, our creative juice is so strong that sometimes we the client's requirements are bypassed, and then but I'm sure that lots of time it must be happening that your vision of something is different, the client's vision of something is different, and then maybe you foresee this to be a better solution to something which the client does not agree with. How do you manage that? How do you get them to come to your thinking way?
that's that's very challenging, honestly, because sometimes there are multiple people involved in the decision process. It's easier when it's just one or two people, but when there's an entire family and not everyone sees eye to eye at times. So for me, it's easy. Like, I'm convinced with what I want to do, I'm clear in my head. But obviously, since it's their space, it's different people's opinion, conflict of interest, and even a small thing as just picking a color could be like such a big challenge. So for me, I do my best. I pitch each idea. So even after my design process, if it's a small selection process, I kind of put my best foot forward and like show them a pros and cons list and kind of show them that why I think this is the best option. But at the end of the day, it is their space. Sometimes you have to give in, because what happens is I can suggest, I can do the design, and I'm out of the picture. The client has to live there, permanently, or has to interact with that space. And design is so perceptive that a good design can be liked by one and not liked by another. It is so perceptive. You can't force somebody to like something they don't. So those kind of things always do come up. And like, what I do is I try my best to convince them, and if they're not convinced, then we try to find like a midway where it's like half of mine and half of theirs, and it does somehow work. So that's how I approach it, because there's no point pushing your ideas and designs on someone who's not willing to take it. So, and for me, in the past, I've worked on multiple projects. Some people, it's more easier to work with than others, because they completely believe in your vision, or they've given you creative control. So there have been clients who've passed my designs with like very minimal changes and have been happy with the first draft itself. And there have been clients who've wanted a lot of changes, and which is, it's part of the design process, it's part of what I do. But at the end of the day, you have to make sure that the client is happy with what they're going to get, because even if it's a great looking design and they have it in their mind that it doesn't look good, they will never like it. Like, it doesn't matter if it's turned out beautifully. So that's what I think, that it's very important on how even the clients perceive your design. So that's a conversation that should be taken care of when in the creative process. So yeah, that's how I do.
Matul, in fact, I absolutely agree to the core how what you said right now, because we've seen similar things happening. I mean, whenever hardware selection also happens, when you want to select the handles, or when you want to select whether you want to do an openable door or a sliding door. Like there are many new innovative concepts coming in hardware. So sometimes when there's something new coming up and you want to explain it to the client, it sometimes becomes difficult for them to, so like how you do, we also do a similar thing, put down the pros and cons for each solution, and each design, because functionality and aesthetic both go hand in hand. And then it's like you said, it's up to the client, because they're going to live there. And if they like something and use something, they're going to be in a positive frame all the time, and not the other way around. So excellent thought process, Batul. And I think it will be very helpful for our viewers as well when they have to sit with their clients discussing design and approvals, and how to keep innovating and keep your creative side intact, and innovating your creativity as well. I'm sure it's going to be very helpful for everyone. Thanks for your time. So, Batul, before we wind up, can you tell people who are watching this video how to get in touch with you, what kind of work you do, and how can they get in touch with you for their interior designing requirements?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I do have an Instagram page, and they can find me on LinkedIn as well. I'll share the links with you so you can put it down. And I'm working on launching my website, which will be ready by end of this month. So hopefully that is another way for them to kind of see what I've been up to, the kind of projects that I've done, and what I offer basically. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Batul. I'm sure lots of people would be wanting to get in touch with you for this. And thanks for your time and coming onto this discussion.
Thanks for having me.
It was my pleasure. And all the best for your future projects.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.